Andre, what's the message you want to get across to the guys who haven't been where you and Clay and Steph and and
I think
Dre
it's
and
I think it's just they got to feel it. It's really hard to explain to them. How the intensity kind of turns up in the playoffs. So for me, it's just trying to lead by example and I don't know, be more focused and intent around surrounding everything that we do around the basketball court and just trying to feed them that type of energy and hopefully they pick up on it because kind of the first 2-3 minutes they'll feel it and throughout the game they'll see how the playoffs work and how the adjustments work and how locked in you have to be. So hopefully they'll pick up on the energy and they'll pick up on kind of the vibe that I've kind of switched up today. It was our first playoff practice day, I guess.
going back to your early career, your first playoff experience, what do you remember about? When did you recognize, I guess, the difference between the regular season and the playoffs? How long did it take you to realize, okay, this is different?
It's a tricky question. I mean, the game's a lot different. The game's a lot different. So when I came in the league, we had tape shoot-arounds, and I was practicing every day for 2 hours a day and playing 35, 40 minutes a game. So, I mean, that intensity was always there. So the game's a little different now. And, it's not like you can have a switch going to playoff mode, but, the last few games we had to win. So hopefully that carries over for us, and hopefully we can have a good understanding of it right away.
Andre, when the Nuggets throw the ball into Jokic, what's the responsibilities of everyone else on the perimeter?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at personnel, shooting percentages. That's playoffs when you're digging into the details. Knowing who are really good finishers around the basket with their cuts. Who cuts from the perimeter, cuts from underneath the basket. Jokic and AG do a really good job of playing off each other. Circling around each other with that. They kind of have a really good understanding of how to flow off each other and turning your head to the ball sometimes is the proper defensive technique, but you can get hurt by it, and it's about communicating and being on one accord defensively too. So that defense works on a tight string, and you can't let it get out of whack.
After your time in Miami, when you came back to this team, how much were you thinking about championship potential?
I mean, going to the finals a good amount of time. I guess the first day of practice, second day of practice, I saw that, you got potential. The league's in a situation now where it's wide open. You got your 5 or 6 teams that have a legit chance, but 6 teams is a lot of teams to have a chance to win it all. Normally, it's down to 3, maybe 4, but, we're interested in state of the game. So, I always thought we would, we got one of the best players in the world of all time, and then we got one of the best defenders in the world of all time in terms of a basketball IQ brain, and, go on and on and on. Add Clay to that, one of the best shooters, and people trying to figure out what he would come back and look like. But we got some other guys who were the best at what they do. Wiggs is he's in that league of the guys like him. He's at the top of that, and then JP's at the top of what he does really well with the young guys. So you put it all together, you got a chance. But you got a Denver team that, are our weaknesses, other teams can expose and win. So, we can be a team that loses early or win it all, which is kind of been something we've been struggling with all year. And I think it comes down to the level of focus that we come with. We can get young sometimes with the way we throw the ball around.
In Draymond's first game back, he declared, we want to win a championship this season. Clay backed it up. I know Steph and other players want this. Everybody, I would assume, in the room wants this. How difficult is it, and how much urgency is there to capitalize on this roster and potentially those feelings of windows closing?
Yeah. Well, you always want to make the most of your opportunities and trying to make runs at it, and you never. We've been a little bit spoiled, in terms of, what Clay, Draymond, and Steph has done. We've been really spoiled, and we think it's like easy, and it's really, really hard. And like I said, it's kind of like trying to explain to the young guys that it's a different feeling in the playoffs, but it's not just our guys. It's the entire league. I think the league's little. We got to bring back that. I did my podcast with Isaiah Thomas, and he said not only would I beat you physically, but I was going to beat you more mentally. Like, I'm making you go to your weak spot every single time. And now we just kind of, the game's loosened up a little bit. You can't really guard as well as you used to be able to. So, you just got guys just throwing up 40 and 50 points, like just on any given day. And, I hope we're not getting too far away from, that the mental side of the game, because that's what separates the really elite teams from everyone else. And it's just how it's like playing chess. And we slowly but surely getting back to playing checkers. And that's why I say there's so many opportunities to go out there and win it. So, whoever comes with the most focus and whoever can lock in and make the best adjustments on the fly, those are the teams that normally, put themselves in the best position to win it all.
The way this roster is made up, you're contending for a title, but there's also this younger core group that is developing and growing. Just what have you thought about the emergence of Jonathan Kuminga, Jordan Poole, and even, the growth of Moses this year and the
they've
future
been great.
they have?
They've been really good. It's not too often that you can do that, and hopefully that happens here. And, I'll leave it at that. The words have been misconstrued a few times. So J.K. is right next to me. And Moses is 2 seats from me, and both of those guys are like my little brothers. J.K. is right next to me, and he's the younger of the two in terms of Moses just has an older soul, but I've gotten a little bit more closer to J.K. because I've needed to, and the sky's the limit for him, and he's got to keep focusing on the little things and having a bigger picture and just trying to get him to understand, like, he's in this environment where you can take it for granted when you're playing with Steph, Clay, and Draymond, on a nightly basis of how hard it really is. But I think he's had a really good year. He's had his ups, he's had his downs, and he's responded from it. And he just has to understand that the physical gifts he has, no one else has. And he just has to fine-tune the little things around that, and he has the opportunity to be amazing. And Moses is going to be around for a long time. He has an older soul, understands. He's always in early. He's always leaving late. Doesn't have the physical gifts as J.K., but the way he shoots the ball, and then he surprises you with his length. I think his reach might be longer than J.K.'s. He'll be able to be around for a really long time with the way the game is played now.
How did Steph look to you at practice today?
What's interesting? He's on a starting group and I'm on a bum unit, so I was just focused on my guys, and I really wasn't paying too much attention. But he did come off the pick and roll. He split a little bit and he snatched it back. So things like that, when I see that, it's just like, he's closer. And I didn't get the chance to see enough to say he's all the way back or not. But, hopefully he'll be able to get out there with us.
Now, you said earlier that you got closer to Jonathan because you had to. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, like I said, like, he's younger in terms of, like, the energy he brings. And because both of those guys are smart kids. Like, Moses is more, sit back, assess, and he doesn't say much, so you don't know if he's picking up things or not. And then when you have a conversation with him, he's like, he got it. J.K. will act like he doesn't know, but he really knows. So they're both, bright kids in their own right. But just J.K. is just, he was highly touted coming out of high school, playing in prep school, and then playing in the G League, had a little bit of money. He's a little bit more flashy. He's really into fashion. Those young kids do that stuff. So he's 19, and I was young at 19 too when I had vets, that kind of pulled me to the side. Not pulled me to the side, but took me under their wing and kind of molded me. So just trying to do the same things with him. Moses, I don't really have to, like, he's just quiet. Like, he doesn't care about the drip, whatever the young kids call it. And so, but Moses and other things I might have to tell him, work on the little nuances of the game because, you're not jumping over people, but you can work on this. We're more so J.K. He's right next to me, and I might have to, hit him upside the head every once in a while.
So what you saying, vets don't have any drip?
Oh, no, we do. It's just different. We speak louder without speaking loud, if you get what I mean.
Andre, take me back to the 2013 series when you were with Denver and playing here. What do you remember about that? And if I remember correctly, the story was that you were so impressed by the Warriors in that series that was one of the big reasons why you wound up coming here. Is that true?
No, I think it was more so, I think that was year like 10 for me. It was 9 or 10, after year 9. And I just wanted to enjoy playing basketball. And I just saw the way the guys played. They had fun playing the game. Like, you can tell they were really just enjoying playing basketball. And when you get thrown in the gauntlet, like, I've been playing basketball for a couple years straight, year round. I played in the Olympics. I played in the World Championships. I was on the select team a few times. I was getting ready for the Olympics. So I've been playing basketball for like 8 years straight. And, I was just getting exhausted and worn down from, the nonsense that comes with the game that you have to deal with. The things that Steve says you get paid for. You don't get paid to play basketball. You get paid a lot to deal with all the nonsense that comes with the game. So I wanted to play for a coach, and I felt like I would just really fall in love with the game again. And it wasn't anything to do with the coach for the Nuggets or any of the coaches I had before. Just it's the state I was in at the time.
If I remember correctly, David Lee might have been the Warriors' best player that season, if not certainly the second best, and he gets hurt in the first game, which you guys win. Did you think at that point that series was going to be Denver's?
Actually, George Karl, who was our coach at the time, he made this statement that he thought they were a more dangerous team without David Lee. And it seems to be he might have been right. So they ended up winning the series. So, I mean, we were down Gallo, who was considered our best player. He got hurt 3 games left in the regular season, and Timothy Mozgov broke his thumb or his finger in the last game of the season. So, Mozgov went off to sign a max contract, and Gallo's playing right now and doing his thing. So, you had 2 big key players being out for us.
Obviously, one of the keys of the playoffs is you play teams in consecutive games. The rosters stay the same, but how much can you change what your approach is game to game to game?
Well, I think that's what makes us, a little dangerous, that we can kind of match up to anything. We can go small, we can go big. Myself, Otto, Wiggs, Draymond, Loon. That's like a big lineup. And the small is, Steph, JP, Clay, Wiggs, So we got a lot of different options, GP. So we got a lot of different options, and we should be able to adjust on the fly. And, just all about us, trying to gel at the right time, which sounds easy, but, we haven't played a second together, full squad. So, we'll be gelling and adjusting within each series, and hopefully we can win along the way.
You mentioned you've been playing basketball for a really long time, and I know when you signed your deal, like in August, you talked to the New York Times about how important it was to come back and, finish out your career with the Warriors. Has this season been maybe more meaningful or had more sentimental moments, than other seasons?
That's a really good question. I don't think I allow myself to, really enjoy it, just being the way I am. Sometimes I get in my own way in terms of like just enjoying the game. Because I'm just so focused on, the state of where we're at and the state of where we should be. So I kind of get in my own way. So I really haven't been able to, take a step away and just like cherish certain moments. It's always like, what's next? But I guess that's just the way I'm wired, and I guess just the way, I gotta do a better job of that. But it's too late now. We're in the playoffs, so I'll be done playing basketball sometime soon. And I don't know. Y'all might see me. Y'all might not.
It was a similar question. I might ask it in a different way, because this is your 18th season, and
Right.
You're on the cusp of another playoffs. What does that mean to you in your career?
Like I said, like it's just like where we're supposed to be, and I think I've been thrust with not thrust, but like I just picked up a lot of responsibility on my own. Just trying to make sure, it's funny because sometimes I figure out, why do I care so much? Just really locking in on a lot of different things, and interacting with certain people, to making sure that they're good, even if they don't directly affect us on the court, but maybe off the court. And I think it just comes back to, somebody like Steph. And I guess if I cherish anything, just trying to make sure that, things are going the right way for him in the heightened years of his career. So I guess that's what it is, just trying to make sure everything's tight and right for him, and making sure that, shit doesn't go all crazy.
Andre, in your expert opinion, do you look at Jordan as someone who could be a max player in this league?
I mean, well, yeah, it's my duty to make sure that, people understand how good he is. But I don't even have to do that. I think Monty Williams, coach for Phoenix Suns, really said it. He's so dynamic in the different ways that he can score, and it's like you got to put a lot of attention on him. How many guys are like that in the NBA, period? Think about it. Like, how many guys do you have to throw the kitchen sink at because they can score in so many different ways, whether he's shooting, catch and shoot, off the dribble, getting to the basket, his finishes left and right hand, being able to pass the ball. Now he's figuring out how to draw fouls, and it's not many guys like that. You got two guys in Brooklyn. You got a guy here. You got, they're saying James Harden isn't really himself, but he can certainly fill it up. And, Tyler Heroes, is trying to put himself in that conversation. You got the kid down in Atlanta, Trae Young. There's a few others I'm missing. Devin Booker's great. Chris Paul still got it. But I'm talking about, like, the scoring, the way that he can score. He scored, 20 or 25 for a really long time. And in this league, these kids can score a lot, but, a guy have 40 and he won't score 20 the rest of the year. But he's been very consistent with it, which is what I've been most proudest of. And, we're getting him on the defensive end, too. So he's been taking a beating on, our constructive criticism, but he's taking it, and which says a lot about, the kid from that generation. So, he's only 22, 23 years old. Yeah, like, he's always going to be able to do that, and then he's only going to get smarter because he's a hard worker. So he's going to score at this clip at least 8 more years. So, I mean, we put a premium on scoring now in this league. So, I mean, you tell me if he's a max, that's a max player now in terms of how they're setting that bar. So there it is.
What is the defensive challenge in 2022 of guarding a team that runs everything through the center and he can average, 10 assists a game basically? Just what is that challenge?
Yeah, he's just really dynamic, and he draws a lot of attention, but they do a really good job of they're so in line and in tune with one another. It's like a machine, like knowing when to cut and how to cut is more than just cutting. Like I said, the way Aaron Gordon cuts underneath, but the way that, Barton sets up guys, and he's very dynamic. He's shooting a lot of threes, but he's making them, and he's so dynamic, and he can get to the basket as well. He's always been a guy who can handle and do a lot of different creative things with the ball. Austin Rivers is being able to defend, and he's getting guys on back cuts. I'll tell you, the guy that's probably raised his value the most is Monte Morris. He's come in and he's filled in for Murray and done a hell of a job at it. He beat us one game. He's shooting the ball well. Jeff Green has had a great year. I think he's flown under the radar and kind of got his, I wouldn't say his career. He's always been this good. He's just in a really good position for him to, be able to play his style of basketball and really just hone in on that and not try to be what others wanted him to be. And he's one of the key factors. And he's finishing the ball great. He shoots it better than people think. And, when you have all that with a guy who can pass, you got to honor split cuts. And then, you're trying to run him off the three. But the way the guy passes, when you turn your head, that's really how you guard a back cut. You turn your back on the ball for a split second, and that's when he throws it. And then you got to have help side, which causes a chain reaction, help, and it's a swing, and guys are shooting it really well, and that's what makes them a tough team.